What's good, guys? Welcome back to Behind the Dugouts, and I hope you are keeping well. And you know that feeling when things are just going a little bit too good, you're going down the right path, everything is looking rosy, and it just feels a little too good to be true. And then you get hit with that sucker punch straight in the gut. And that's what's happened today. Things were looking oh so good for Chelsea. We were making some good signings. We were playing some good football. We've won the Club World Cup and become world champions. And everything was just looking peachy. Just about to see some of the new signings play tomorrow. And then we get dealt with the Levi Colwill blow. This is the latest on Levi Colwill and his ACL injury. Chelsea defender Levi Colwill has suffered an ACL injury and will be out for the majority of the season. He suffered an anterior cruciate ligament injury at the end of his first training session back and has since had a scan followed by surgery. Now, I was expecting some big news to happen today, but this definitely wasn't it. And I feel more sorry for the player. Yes, this is a detriment to Chelsea, and going into next season, he's been one of our standout players and probably our most solid centre-back. So we definitely would need him going into the start of the season, and it is a big loss for the squad. But for the player, he was finding form, he was building up his confidence, he was, becoming more of a leader within the squad, and he was playing some really good football. And to continue that going into next season with that added confidence of becoming world champion could have taken Levi to the next level. And unfortunately, this is a very nasty injury. As Fabrizio has said there, this is going to take him out for the majority of the season, which is a big, big loss. Now, it's not all doom and gloom because we have quite a considerable amount of cover in the central defensive area as well, just as the defensive area in general, especially now with Jorel Hato coming in. Badiashile, I think, is now back from injury. Wesley Fofana's back in training, so it won't be long before we see him, and we've still got the likes of Tosin and Chalobah. So in terms of defensive cover, we are pretty much sorted. Now, do I think the club may go in for a defender because of this news? We knew there was rumours today that he had picked up an injury. There was things everywhere. And people were speculating it's not going to be too long, maybe a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months. But he was definitely going to miss the start of the season, which is not the end of the world. But to see the extent and how serious the injury is that's going to rule him out for the entirety of the season, pretty much. He may come back towards the end, you just don't know. And even then, what kind of level he's going to be at. He's not going to be fit. He's not going to be game ready. So it's going to take him a lot of time to get back into this squad. I'm happy that he's undergone surgery and he's just got it out the way. And now it's just on the road to recovery. And I do wish him all the best. And I'm gutted for the lad, I have to admit. For a young centre-back to pick up a nasty injury like that, it's not nice. And I really hope he can come back and play at the same level that he was playing before the injury. But as I said, we do have some defensive cover. But I do think the club were waiting for the scan, which has happened, and they've made the decision with the player and the club to go for surgery. I think this might tip them to potentially go for another centre-back in the market just to provide that added cover. Again, if you start taking Jorel Hato and playing him as centre-back or making him rotate with Badiashile or even moving some of the right-sided centre-backs over, you're going to leave a position a little light. So if we predominantly use Hato as a centre-back, we've now left with Cucurella with no cover. Vice versa, we start shifting over some of the right centre-backs, we're going to potentially leave that area without cover again. We can say, Fofana's come back. Again, to what level? The geezer's not managed a whole season or even half a season as of yet in a Chelsea shirt. So as much as I'd love him to be solid, he's a great defender and I'd love him to stay fit, it's 50-50 with Fofana. He's just never been right. So if he can come back and be solid and stay fit, I think we'll be fine. We've also got some young players in the likes of Anselmino, who's yet to go out on loan, so he could potentially be held back from loan and kept as part of the squad to aid in case we need some more defensive cover. So we do have options, but I feel that the club are going to probably go for more experience. We could see us go in for Mark Gurhey sort of last minute because there were a little bit of chatter towards the beginning of the transfer window. It sort of died down, and I have seen a few rumours floating that the price is not going to be as high as it was even last season or at the beginning of the window. So there could be a deal to be done there with Palace. There was also the talk about Jared Branthwaite. That's died down completely. But we could now see the club revisit these type of rumours to potentially look at these players again to add additional defenders to the squad just to have cover. But we'll see how that materialises over the next coming weeks. I think if they are going to do something, it's going to be quite quick to get them ready for the start of the season. But for me personally, I feel like we have enough cover. I feel like we've got enough players, enough quality to cope without Levi Colwill. Again, massive loss, but we have enough in the squad to cover ourselves going into next season. Now, we have had some new news on Nicholas Jackson, and it's not looking good, bruv. At least for the player side, it is looking like he is going to be sold. Even Maresca coming out in his press conference today, not really denying any rumours, not really sort of slapping anything away, pretty much saying like, if it happens, it happens. The window's open, anything can happen really. So this is the latest on Nicholas Jackson. FC Bayern have made inquiries about Nicholas Jackson in the past few hours. Bayern have gathered information on his current status, price and conditions. Newcastle are also seriously interested. The 24-year-old versatile striker is on the verge of leaving Chelsea. Price valuation of 65 million euros. Now, I bet Newcastle at the moment are probably hoping for a miracle because they are just getting rejected left, right and centre. And now to see Bayern Munich potentially be in the running for Nicholas Jackson, which at the moment is probably the last available striker out there that has any real experience or any real quality that a top side may be looking at it. And I use that term nicely again. Jackson has lots of qualities and he does a lot of things right, but he also does some of the important things wrong. But in terms of what is out there and what strikers are available for a certain price, he is probably the only real name left on the list that is attractive to other clubs. And again, Newcastle, if they're going to come up against a team like Bayern Munich, are probably going to lose out on Nicholas Jackson unless they move fast or, in this case, offer more money. We've seen different transfer rumours regarding this one, what price it's going to be, whether it's £80 million or 65 million euros, which Florian Plettenberg is saying here. I don't think he'll go for 65 million euros. I think that is a little bit too cheap, especially when you look at what Sesko has just been, bought for by Man United and what he's completed his move for, which is around, I think, £75 million. It was like, I think, 85 million euros in total, including add-ons. So, and I wouldn't say there's much difference between Sesko and Jackson. And if anything, I'd say Jackson is probably more proven in terms of in the Premier League, in the toughest league in the world, he's still bagged quite a few goals. So I don't see him going for anything less than at least around the Sesko price for his age and the calibre of player that he is. So it will be interesting to see how this one develops and who is going to come out on top. But it is very likely now that Nicholas Jackson is going to be on the way out at Chelsea. I'd like to pose a question to you. If we were to go to the new season without Nicholas Jackson, if he was to be sold, is Liam Delap and João Pedro enough, or do you feel that we need to go out and sign another striker, either one that's going to compete for first choice or a backup option in as a third choice striker, because we've just loaned out Mark Hughes, so we don't have that option anymore? Drop a comment below, let me know your thoughts on that one. I wanted to finish this video on something a little bit more positive, something that I, as most Chelsea fans, have been looking forward to ever since it was announced that he was going to move to Chelsea. And once we played Palmeiras in the Club World Cup, all eyes have been on him, ready and raring to go to see him in the blue shirt. And he has finally arrived. Take a look, it's Estevao. Chelsea unveil William Estevao as new signing 1 year after deal done with Palmeiras. It feels very rewarding to represent Chelsea, one of the biggest clubs in the world. I hope to help the team in the best way possible. I can't wait, says Estevao. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm absolutely buzzing to see this kid play. And Estevao, that blue shirt, it suits you, mate. And of course, yes, he's 18 years old and we don't want to hype him up too much because we want him to come in, we want him to settle and find his feet in a new league, a new country. There's lots of things for him to adapt to, but I wouldn't be a fan if I didn't get excited when these special players come into the squad. And I feel like this boy is going to be a star. Just watching him in the game against us in the Club World Cup for Palmeiras and the skills and what he was doing to our defence and the goal that he scored and the confidence that he has for such a young kid. He just looks like a special player. And hopefully tomorrow is the first time we get to see him playing in that blue shirt, tearing up that Bayer Leverkusen defence. But I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Are you as excited to see Estevao as I am? Drop a comment below. But for now, guys, that is all from me. And if you're enjoying the content, please hit that like button. Drop a comment below. Feedback is always appreciated. But for now, take care of yourselves and I will catch you in the next one.